Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a conversation with National Bank of Canada. My name is Erica Nordio from LabTest Certification and one of your hosts today. And joining me as well is Kavinder Dhillon, President at LabTest Certification. Our special guests today are Mr. Richard Wang, Vice President of Commercial Banking, Mr. Sam Sharma, Director of Commercial Banking, and Ms. Dishen Zhao, also Director of Commercial Banking. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Hello,
Erica.
Thank you.
Hi. So this is our third podcast for this series. And just to give our listeners an idea of what this is all about, A Conversation With is a set of interviews with some of our longtime clients and partners, a virtual chat really to see how everyone is doing and adapting during this difficult and challenging situation, which is the coronavirus global pandemic. The idea came from asking ourselves, how can we help? And because we feel that we're all in this together, our hope was that through our conversations, our listeners could gain some good insights from listening to our guests and maybe some answers as well to similar questions that they might have. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Kavinder, who will facilitate our chat with our guests today. Kavinder?
Thank you, Erica. I would first like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, especially under these severe conditions. I will start by asking you to tell us a little bit about NBC and your role and your background. So Richard, if you could just give us a brief intro.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kavinder. My name is Richard. I'm the head of commercial banking here in BC. I'm with my two colleagues, as they were introduced earlier today, Sam and Dishen. For those that don't know about National Bank, we are the sixth largest bank in Canada, founded in 1859. So we are 160 years old.
Wow.
Over the last number of years, 5, 10 years, there's a big significant mandate for us to grow the business outside of our head office in Montreal, outside of the province of Quebec. And so we've put significant resources now to grow the business in BC. And that is why I'm actually I'm looking forward to this conversation to see how we can shed some light from a banking perspective for you and your clients.
Thank
and
you.
anyone listening to this conversation.
Oh, thank you. Well, let me start by saying why we wanted to have this conversation with you. As like many businesses, LabTest is a small business facing new challenges we weren't prepared for, and we are looking for assistance and some guidance to navigate through this new business norm that we're experiencing. And also, having spoken to many other businesses, they are facing the same unknown and looking for ways to ride the storm. We hear in the news the governments are providing assistance to all, but how and what can we do to weather the storms? So to help us and others find the guiding light, and in some cases a life jacket, we would like to get your input. That is one of the main reasons for us to get some assistance from you. So from what I would like to do is to ask some questions where you could basically assist us and provide some additional information. One of the things is, what are some of the programs that are available out there to small businesses that we could be using? If you could share with us.
Sure. Anyone can answer that. I can start. I'll start with a simple one. How's that? The first one is called the CEBA. What does CEBA stand for? CEBA stands for the Canada Emergency Business Account. Canada Emergency Business Account. This is a interest-free loan of up to $40,000 that any business and any organization, any nonprofit, any charitable organization can apply for. Mm-hmm. And the basic parameters or the qualifications of it is simply if you have had a payroll expense of up to from 20,000 minimum up to 1.5 million over the last 12 months, then you qualify for this emergency loan. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. You have to apply for it through your own bank, through your daily operating bank, and it's a simple process. You go to each bank's online presence. So if you're a National Bank client, you go to National Bank. There's a specific link for it. You fill in some certain information about your company, and you'll get a reply within 24 to 48 hours of receiving this submission. And then a few days after that, 4 to 5 days after that, no more than 4 to 5 days after that, you'll see this loan in your account.
Wow, that's great.
And I guess the one of the beauties of this loan that we've also heard is that about $10,000 is forgiven if paid back within a certain time frame.
That is correct. No, that wasn't a freeze. That's correct. I'm trying. It is a 3-year loan. So if you can pay it back within by December 31st, 2022, then 10,000 of that $40,000 loan could be forgiven. Right.
No, that is a great benefit. As I mentioned, as a small business, we are also faced with this challenge is because there is a cap on this, and I know there's nothing the bank or any of the banks can do, but the range, if you're over 1.5 million, you do not qualify, and there is no additional package or that's available, or is there anything else that's available for businesses who have a payroll that exceeds 1.5 million that could apply for something similar to this or not?
Not to our knowledge from this specific program. Now, this specific program has been fluid. The parameters have expanded over time. So it started off as a minimum of $50,000, I believe, payroll, up to 1 million, if I'm remembering correctly, and they've expanded that program to help more businesses. So at this time, unfortunately, if your payroll is over $1.5 million, this program will not fit those companies.
Okay. No, thank you. I deal personally with Sam, who looks after a lot of the accounts here. So I've been given a lot of inside information on how to do things. And so this is where I'll also like to share with our audience some of the applications or some of the things that are also available in addition to the loans of the wage subsidy program that we, how does that work? And what are the qualifications in order to get something like that? Don't everybody rush in all at once. So,
well, Sam, you go.
The wage subsidy program is where it's been extended till extended up to August by the government, and what they do is they will cover up to 75% of the wages for your employees. Okay, and this is till the end of August that they have. Earlier it was supposed to be June, the end of June, but they've extended it for a period of 2 months. An excellent program, and a lot of our clients have started taking advantage of it, and they have said that it's been very smooth, and it's been the government's been crediting their accounts with the necessary subsidies, cash subsidies that they're providing. So it's a very helpful program, especially in these tough times, and helps out a lot of small businesses and mid-sized businesses out there.
Yeah, no, we ourselves have also applied for this and are working through the process of going through. So hopefully everything works out, and we ourselves, like everybody else, start getting the finances back to support our employees. And as we go, is there any other programs that are out there that are available for small companies? The reason I keep on coming to small companies is, as you know, larger companies, they have full accounting departments, legal departments, who have the networks already associated with the bigger banks and legal systems. They're aware of all of these things. There's a lot of small companies like ourselves or Ma Pa companies who are not involved much with banking, and they're the ones who are actually, they do everything from the hands-on work and go do the install, make everything. They just know how to do the work. And this is, it's a lot of this is directed towards those. How can we help those who are like ourselves, who are not familiar with the financial sides of how things work? So that's where one of the reasons we're trying to get a little bit more information and share with them if there's any other programs that are available that they can be using as well.
Yeah, there are two, I'm sure there are more, but the two others I'd like to mention. There's through the two crown corporations. One is EDC, which is the Export Development Bank of Canada, and the other one is BDC, is the Business Development Bank of Canada. And for the EDC program, the relief comes through a guarantee that is provided to the financial institution. And as National Bank, we work very closely with EDC. That is a program we utilize often. So the bank does the credit adjudication. We deal with the customer directly. The loan is approved, funded, managed through the bank, but the government support comes in as a form of loan guarantee provided to the bank. So which solves the problem, provides comfort in the sense of security, that kind of thing. Without that guarantee, often those loans cannot be approved because we still have to follow the requirements, whether it's COVID or before or after. That's the same for us. And for that loan, the customers, the businesses will deal with their banks directly. But I think to initiate the process, they need to, work with. I think the bank, for us, we send a link. How it works is the client, they apply through EDC, very quick process, 20 minutes we heard. Then EDC will notify us that application has been registered with them. Then the bank will do their work. And this one also has a timeline. I believe it's up till September 20th that you can apply. And the other one is through BDC. I think in one sense, BDC has loosened their rules, right, Richard? And they provide up to $6 million working capital loan to corporations. I think that fits your earlier question for company who's larger, who have larger working capital requirements.
Okay.
40,000 probably makes very little difference to those companies, but a large working capital loan is really what they need during this time. Yeah.
Yeah, both of these programs are intended to help businesses that have been affected by COVID-19. Yeah. And the structure of the programs are vary just slightly. As Gishan was alluding to, the EDC program is there's a government security, a government guarantee to support the facility, where the BDC is more of a traditional program, a traditional financing program, but it's a co-lending program with the Business Development Bank of Canada with the bank in order to help facilitate the support.
Okay. No, that's good to know. As I mentioned, as a small company, it's great that there's more avenues for us to take. Now, under these severe conditions, because small companies are directly affected with cash flow, it comes down to the time and the processing time. Is there a difference between those two? Because traditionally, before this, if you were go to a bank to get a loan, you got to go through quite a bit of paperwork, or as you know, the regulatory criteria. Has that been streamlined by these to make it easier to access and faster to access? Because time is of the essence here. A lot of the companies are hand to mouth on a monthly basis, so they cannot wait months and months to get these financing. Their doors could be closing. So what is there a difference between the before and the after, and even between the two programs?
Well, that's a tricky one, because for BDC, Richard can correct me, I think they take a little longer. That's what I heard. Either the program, they do it on their own to help clients as a relief measure, or with the bank, I guess. Right now they have a backlog, So they're taking some time. For EDC, the initial application on the EDC website, it's very quick. It's pretty much instant. Same day we get notification as client's account manager, then we do our thing. So from that point, it really depends on us and the client as well, because the credit adjudication still has to be done with diligence, due diligence and all that. But I think from our end, as humanly possible, as our schedule possible, we try to work with the client to expedite things when it's needed. And as to focus, I think we're putting a lot of focus on, for example, you prepare a cash flow projection. In the old times, you provide the past performances, 3 years financial, for example. Sometimes we ask for interim. But now, because this special time, a lot of uncertainty, clients are asked to, really understand on their own what's their cash flow situation, what is their expenses, expected incoming cash flow, outgoing cash flow, prepare a realistic, solid projection, from now till you stabilize. And with that, we can, easily understand. It's easier for the bank and client to work together, understand what is truly needed, and see what can be done. Does that answer a bit of your question?
Yeah, it does. I was fortunate enough, like as mentioned, I did the application with EDC. Actually, it's very quick. I was done within 10 minutes. It's a very quick process. And one thing I do know, as soon as the application was done, I hit submit. An email was forwarded to Sam right away that I had submitted this application, because they do ask for our account managers at the banks that we are working with, so they're notified right away. So that definitely has helped the process to speed it up, because in business, as we know, it's always about communication, how we communicate and passing from one stage to another. So that was very quickly done. So that's a great opportunity for small businesses to try. And I think, Richard, you did mention that there is a timeline. So I strongly suggest, if companies are out there, even if they figure that they're not needing it, it does not hurt to start this process and to have something there, if that is permitted within this, because we are in the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. So that makes it a challenging for us. And as a small business, and this is where I also like to get some input, because from your backgrounds, what can we be doing differently to help us get through this storm as we're moving on a daily or a weekly basis? Because you did mention that maybe a regular cash flow analysis, monthly, weekly, or is there any other guidance that you could provide us that businesses should be looking at?
I think, yes, go ahead, Richard.
No, I was going to say, this is a global pandemic. It's affecting everyone, any size business, any individual person. It's not discriminating against anyone, right? So from a business standpoint, we really have to take note of what steps we have to do in order to help yourself. Cash flow projections are fantastic on a normal course, normal business. Even if you are a small mom and pop shop, to know that your ins and outflows of your cash cycle are quite important. It's even more so now because you have to be able to weather the storm, whether you have that support or not. You have to know where the next sale is coming from, if it's coming from somewhere. If it's not, then you have to take precautions and how to rectify that. And that's where the difficulty is in a lot of our small business out here. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy, and we need to be able to, from a bank, from National Bank's perspective, we are here to help as much as we can for these small businesses. All our time is devoted currently to help these businesses that have been affected by COVID-19.
So as a small business, if we needed some assistance, this is where we could reach out to you and let I guess, openly discuss our situation, what challenges we're facing, and then you would, or your account managers or your representatives would be able to provide us some guidance as in what we need to do and how we need to do it. And that is something that would be very important for business people or companies to know what and how to do things. Is that something you'll be able to assist us with?
That's what we're here for, to ensure that Dishan and I and a whole team, we are able to provide all the advice and kind of guidance to our customers or people, companies that come to us asking for help, to ensure that we can contribute to their to their stability, to their growth for the long term as well, and be able to help them out in this time of need. Correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, right?
No, that's true. The reality is, it's unfortunate, but the reality is there will be some casualties, um, and not everyone will qualify for different programs that exist. But we are your trusted advisors. We're here to provide support and guidance as much as we can to help weather the storm.
Yeah, to absolutely, like going back to what you said before, Kavinder, for small business, like the owner does a lot. You deal with your customers, your suppliers, your employees, and often what's ignored is not only, managing your cash flow, truly understand when you're going to receive that receivable, when you have to pay that payable and stuff like that. Or say, what if, the sales drop by this much? What if, some of your supply come from, say, China? We had clients affected by that in earlier days. Also, what often is not done is to keep a timely. I'm sure you're doing a great job with Sam. You have great rapport, but often clients, didn't have the time or it wasn't their priority to keep a contact with their bankers. Update them with what they're planning to do. Update with them if they foresee some issues. So there are larger businesses do a better job. It's a habit. They have a financial controller, for example, or things like that. But for smaller business, I find that could be a challenge for them. And also when difficult time comes and you come to the bank and there's a bit of lack of understanding, communication, certain things could have been mitigated along the way, was left ignored. And when time like this hit, just many things went wrong. So I think for small business, what they really need to do is, have that as a habit, understand their own cash flow, of course, also keep a close communication. From our standpoint, all of us were very proactive. And when this thing hit, we send information to all our clients, available programs, what they can do, what we can do, although it's new for us too. So I hope the clients who are not dealing with us are getting that service. If not, they really need to, get in touch with their bankers. So if we come to your question, what we can offer, we that's what we're trying to do. We keep a close connection, along the way, because small business change. You have to change. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't connect with your bank, then we got left outside. We don't understand what you're doing, and things that's actually a good thing could show up as a bad thing on the financial statement, which is it's financial is always late, right? That's very important, I think.
No, as you mentioned, the communication between the companies and the bank is very important, especially under these financial. Is there, I'm not sure, is there like a cheat sheet or 1, 2, 3s that every company should be looking at on a regular basis to make sure that they're on the right track? Is there something that is that you could recommend, or is it different for every business that every business should be speaking with one of your representatives individually?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's a cheat sheet per se. Now we are, as a banker, we are generalists. So we have experience with multitude of different businesses. And what Dishan said earlier is very, very important. Have your clients and anyone listening to this podcast, reach out to your banker. Have relationships with the banker. For us, right at the beginning of the onset of the pandemic, everyone on our team, we reached out to every single one of our customers to see how they were affected, and we continued that touch point with our clients. whether it be those that needed more guidance and support and advice. We had more regular touch points, whether it be a couple days, a week. You have to have that relationship. So I would recommend to anyone listening to if you don't have that relationship, you need to start it now.
Well, one of the other things that as we're talking is there's a lot of assistance that is being provided by the federal government and provincial governments as well, which is great. And I think that is what's keeping 99% of the companies still afloat. But there's still that fear, as we hear from some of the other country governments. Funds are running out, or there wasn't enough, or anything like that. How long do you think our Canadian government could sustain something like this? I'm not sure if you have any idea, or it could just be a simple guess. Because as a company, how long can we basically manage or survive, or what we need? Is there anything that you have some forecasting that you could share with us?
I don't know if we should say it, because we did have our internal, we have a very brilliant chief economist in earlier days give us a brief on, how much is put in, how much can be put in, but it's everybody's guess. Even the government have to see, right? So I think they're gauging it on the percentage of GDP. I think we can go up to 50%? Is that what he said at that time? And
what I would recommend for anyone is the National Bank's chief economist. His name is Stéphane Marion. Wonderful, intelligent, articulate individual. He has done presentations that are available to stream. It's on LinkedIn. I believe it may also be on our website at nbc.ca. I would recommend you searching it out and taking a look. And he has these wonderful forecasts. We're in a world right now where it's fluid and it's unknown, and it's all about forecasts. So I would recommend that Stéphane Marion. I would recommend you look him up on LinkedIn.
Is there anything as companies, small, like the backbone of Canadian businesses, small companies, what can we do to lessen the burden on the government? And at the same time help other businesses? Is there anything that we can do that could be, as a business who wants to succeed and to make it a little bit easier for our fellow other businesses? Is there what do you suggest that we should be looking at or concentrating on?
I think I'm just going to personal. It's I think it depends on everybody's perspective and experience, right? But for me, it's just speaking in a general sense, it's hard to say what I can do to help, because you're employing quite a few number of employees. You're already a contributor. You're already helping. And then in the smaller sense, the work environment, the PPE, preventing people getting sick, you're already helping. But it's sometimes hard to say what I can do to help, especially in an uncertain time like this. But if we just cut the noise, just focus on what is sustainable and what reflects your personal value, that hopefully it's sustainable. Because for small business, I think the owner have luxury to make the business yours. To me, that's the beauty of small business. Your personality, your integrity, your principle shows through the business. For a large corporation, especially when it goes public, you don't have that anymore, right? So I guess as an owner, you be or chief, the president of the company, you want to be strong. You want to lead, and you really want to be a leader. And then take your business to a track where product wise, the way you conduct business, in a sustainable way. I think in general, because a lot of people, if even on a personal level or looking at a business, the ones harder to survive are the ones refuse to look around. The ones, are short-sighted, I think sometimes. They look backwards. They want to go back to the past. But I think if you have a solid vision and you're fluid, like you said, and you have the luxury of having that reflected in the way your business operates.
Kavinder, we've had a chat about this in the past. I mean, you've mentioned about how your clients have come and asked you about, how are you doing? How's the company doing? Is it something they can do to help? I think empathy right now and kind of understanding, like as in, you may have customers from who you have receivables that are due and all. They might be facing a lot of problems. Maybe, I mean, you've probably done this. Maybe it's a great idea to reach out and say, hey, look, we're working together. We want to work together in the future too. We want to support you, right? Is there, I mean, in general, is there something that you can do to help them out? Maybe recommend them, maybe suggest to them to go and use the various programs that are available. If they haven't done that, talk to their bankers, account managers to see how they could be helped out. Of course, refer them to us. We don't say no, but no. All jokes aside, I think it's more important to educate them about what kind of help is available out there, and coming from your experience and what you are doing, because you know what, we're all in this together, and we want to help each other out. And I think if we support each other in whatever way possible, that's the only way we're going to come out of this together and successful.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I know from my own experience dealing with our clients, we do understand that they do reach out to us that they have some challenges from their receivables, and where we are able to assist, just like the banks or anybody else is doing it, just like you are doing with us for our mortgages and deferring them, it is great. So whatever we can do, and we are also basically extending similar opportunities to our clients, because I look at it another way. This is an opportunity for us to build and strengthen our relationships with our clients. If we are helping them in their need, and I'm sure down the road the favor will also be returned, it's in our best interest to keep the other companies floating and survive through this. It's so whatever we are able to do, we are also doing. So this is where, if there's other ways that you also see that some of the other companies could be supporting their suppliers, their clients, and etc. I think that is one of the things that we all need to do as Canadian companies to help each other and to weather the storm. We are in this all together. I think that is the only way that we will be able to survive. And Dishin, as you mentioned, there are still a lot of companies that still think we're going to go back to the old ways, and I personally think there is no such thing as old ways anymore. And we are in I guess, the new technology era. So everything has changed for us, and as we move forward, and some of the things is being more efficient. What do you see from businesses? What can they take from this exercise as we all learn working from home or isolation and everything else? What are some of the good, positive things that you see other business that we could share with other companies or other businesses that could be using, if you have any ideas that could be shared with?
I think, Richard, I'll let you handle that one. You have some really good, you've had some good suggestions in the past too.
Kavinder, just to touch on your last question, I think you yourself and what LabTest is doing with Erica, this conversation with, is an example of you supporting small businesses, you supporting your clients, you supporting your relationships. So kudos to you for that, right? That it just takes a small effort, but that support you're providing to everyone else in terms of information, whether it be with this chat with us as your bankers, or your other suppliers and customers. I think it's very, very beneficial. So it's a great job on that. We're moving towards this new world of more people working remotely. I think it was either Twitter or Google had just announced that they are going to stay working remote for the rest of the year. What's important if we do maintain this kind of reality to a certain degree, and which I think is inevitable, is that you have to maintain good communication first and foremost. And from National Bank, we've had great communication cascaded down from the top from our president and CEO, Louis Vachon, all the way to our boss, Robert Hayes. So it has been great and transparent communication. One of the fears, though, of working remotely continually is you might, there's a risk of losing some cohesion within a group, within a dynamic, risk of losing some of your culture as an organization. So I think it's important that you have these social touch points, regardless if you're virtual or not. From a team perspective, we try to do a virtual
happy hour,
a happy hour now and again, just to have that constant social touch point.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's also a general fear of potential losing some efficiencies if you continue to have remote isolation or remote working for long periods of time. But with technology nowadays, similar to what we're doing today, I think we can mitigate those risks.
Thank you. No, it's something that we're also learning. The technology, we have the technology. Now it's up to us to use it and to be more efficient. It's funny, as you're mentioning the social hours and other things. Erica from our side has been great in organizing these, and even this conversation coffee chat is been her idea. So we're also exploring new ways of doing these wonderful things to keep the communication lines. The other interesting thing is, instead of flying around the world to meet clients, we're also noticing this virtual meetings, online meetings. We're actually doing more face-to-face meetings now with people around the world than ever before. So I do see some positive sides coming out of this, that as we're learning, as we're growing, as we're moving forward, and so there's some great things that are coming out of this, and hopefully we continue to grow, and we're able to share. And if there's other ideas that you could share with us, that we would be very welcome. And hopefully the people listening to this, if that you'll be open to them having to reach out to you if they need any assistance from the bank or any which way, that would be very helpful. I can only speak from my own personal experience dealing with NBC. They've been great for us and helping us sustain what we need, even weathering this storm. We've been doing very well, and in having some confidence that we are going to make it through this. And that's where, if you yourself have some confidence, you're going to get through this. It's easier to help other people, because if you're always treading water yourself, you can't help other people. So if you're swimming through yourself, then it's easy for you to help other people. So the bank, from my point of view, has been very helpful for LabTest. For that, I do thank you, and hopefully you'll be able to assist other people in making the process a little bit easier for them as well. And it is the communication, and that is one of the biggest assets that I would say, Richard, that you have within your team. Is they're very easily accessible, and where if I need something assistance, I'm able to get that. So for that, you do have a good team there, and I do thank you for that. Is there anything else that you could basically share or would like to share to other companies, that how they could reach out to you, or what other suggestions that you may have, as we all, I guess, go through this challenging times? And I guess the question that we all have is, how long is this going to last? Mm-hmm. And everybody is, and it's almost, it's flipping a coin and not knowing whatever it's going to be. It's everybody's guess, and so I'm not even going to ask you that question, because how long is this going to ask?
That's a $1 million question.
Yeah. So and we all.
I'm gonna ask you that question. How long is it gonna last, Kavinder?
Why don't we just leave the question up
I could myself. I could answer this question from the LabTest point of view. In dealing with our clients, we have clients that are were hit the hardest. Like, for example, in Italy, they are gone back to work, and they're slowly getting back to reality. They've been shipping us products from there, from other parts of the world. I think it is us, as long as we ourselves take the precautions, and here, based out of BC, I have to give credit to our government officials, our health officials, who are providing great guidance to all of us. It's just not their guidance; it's also the people. It's the people who have been listening, and that also makes a big difference. People who are listening to what needs to be done, and that we all need to continue to follow the guidance of our leaders, and then we have to listen to them, and where we do not go out on our own and be mavericks. And we had our meeting just yesterday with all this safety gear and everything else. The simplest thing that I brought up to them is wearing of the masks and all this social distancing or physical distancing. It's not to protect you; it's to protect other people. So have respect for other people. And if we basically are able to do that we're doing this for somebody else, I think we will basically get through this a lot faster than anything else. And business will survive. People will always survive. That's my personal thinking. I did listen to partake in Stefan's presentation, the economic presentation, and as what they were saying, yeah, we're on track. The third quarter is coming around, so businesses are starting to get back, and like everybody else, they're saying fourth quarter is be ready. That's when the big hit is. You guys have to be full steam ahead coming to the fourth quarter, and ourselves, we are basically being prepared for that, and that also comes back to where I understand the governments themselves are giving some funding to keep our employees within the company, so we don't have to do any retraining, retooling, and everything else. We are ready for it, and I think a lot of the businesses are ready for the challenges, and we could basically start bringing this economy back to the new norm, I guess I would say. So that's basically where we are right now to help everybody. And again, I would like to thank you for your assistance and your knowledge that you have shared with us. And I will basically leave it up to you if there's anything else that I may have missed or any other suggestions that you may have for us.
I was going to add, we covered a lot of really great topics, and just like Kavinder, I would love to thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule and sitting down with us today, even if virtually. It was great to chat with all of you. As much as we covered a lot of topics, I'm sure that our listeners probably will have more questions, or maybe a few more questions about some of the topics that were discussed, because of course we have limited time. We couldn't just go into full details. How could I get in touch with you, with any of you, if they wanted to talk a little bit more about a specific topic that's of their interest?
Yeah, absolutely. We are readily available. We're fully transparent. Whether you are an existing client or not, we're here to help. We're here to support. You can find us on LinkedIn individually. So feel free to reach out via LinkedIn, and we will get back to you shortly with any questions that you guys may have. I want to take a second, though, to really thank you both as well for your time in setting this up. It has been our pleasure, absolute pleasure, to join in this conversation.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed for letting us discuss all this, how we can help. And Kavinder, as I say, I think one of the takeaways for anybody who's listening to this podcast is to be proactive with the bankers. I mean, like you always tend to do a regular check-in at least once every week or 2 weeks. That's always very helpful. That helps us to know what's going on with you so that we can be proactive too and help you out. with any obstacles that you may face. And thank you very much indeed for this session today.
Thank you.
If anyone out there needs additional information on specific programs, feel free to go to our website as well at www.nbc.ca/business. That's specific to the businesses and corporations out there.
Perfect. That's great. Well, I think this is a wrap. So again, thank you everyone for your time. It was great to see you today and chat with you. And have a great rest of the day and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.